Psychology 2023 main exam paper, and we'll discuss today paper 1, and in paper 1 also we'll discuss section A, because a long duration discussion is not feasible, because whenever I discuss things I have different style of discussion. Then when I discuss things I ensure that you get techniques, and you end up getting something which you can take back home, and whenever there is a question which is like what I have discussed, you can answer it well. And when a question is a new one, then how to encounter it, and how to ensure that whatever knowledge you have, whatever content you have, by using that content only you can answer a new question as well. These two things will be addressed apart from the content part, and we'll understand how we have to change the approach of the psychology understanding, psychology study, if we want to prosper in the main examination. And when I say prosper, again I am targeting 60% plus marks in psychology, which is quite possible. Now, before going into the discussion, first of all let's understand few things. One is your programs which we are going to conduct, which will be helpful for you. There are two things, as many people inquired about it, and that's why it is my duty to tell you. One is your test series. Come mentorship, for which 2 matches have already been launched. The third batch, batch 3, will start from October 5. You can enroll till October 4. There will be 6 sectional tests, 6 sectional tests, and there will be 4 into 2, that is paper 1 and paper 2, each having 4 tests, full tests, so 8, total 14 tests. The course fee is 12,000 rupees, and payment and all method, if you want to know, you can contact me on this number. Either me or anybody from our team will answer your query on this number. Alright, many people had sent me a mail as well. You know my mail ID. If you go to my Telegram channel, you can get my mail ID. This is program for test series come mentorship. Then there is another program running, that is your online classes, which will consist of 3 classes a week per week, 3 sub test, that is 1.5 hour test, then Sunday, every Sunday full test. This program is also running. If you enroll on or before 30th of September, then you can continue with the same batch which is running right now. The course fee for this is 27,500 rupees. Now, these two programs are running currently. It will help you immensely, both these programs, and I have told you enough about these programs. You must have seen the comments and accolades from different aspirants who wrote main exam this year. So you can decide based on this. Now, coming to our discussion today, we'll discuss section A questions. Not all, because I have already uploaded model answers which you can see on my Telegram channel, MJ UPSC 2004. This Telegram channel, model answers are given. Many of the questions, as I already told you, they were from my test series which I am conducting, MJIS test series. Paper 1, around 60% of the questions came from the test series itself, and paper 2 almost 100%. What we'll discuss today is your few questions which I have chosen, which will help you to understand a new dimension, to understand how to encounter problems when you are not much aware about the content, or that gives you not only the content but it gives you the technique how to solve the questions. So we'll start with the 10 marker. Question number 1B, question 1B of your paper 1 section A, and the question is, mental health study is the major trend in psychological studies in 21st century. Discuss. Now see, now what the examiners of UPSC are looking for is, not only should you be aware about the content which anybody can get from the market, everyone is reading the same study material. Unfortunately, same study material which is available in the market over, and you are reading psychology material which is being read by all the aspirants who are writing, means around 200 plus aspirants write, means all of them are studying the same material. Now the examiner is looking for those people who are interested in the discipline, who either have a background in psychology or they are interested in the recent trends, the current happenings of psychology. Now who will give you all these things? One is that you yourself can do, but I, taking the responsibility from the side of the student, what I always say, that students are not wrong, students are not bad, there are no bad students, only bad teachers. So it is a duty of the coach of UPSC that they give you all these fodder. They should either tell you the content, give you the content, or they should tell you that how to approach the subject, so that it gives you an inspiration. It gives you an inspiration to look into the new vistas, the new happenings in the discipline. So one of the major trends in psychology in the current century, 21st century, has been mental health, and they have asked a question of mental health. So those people who are doing, as one of the aspirants sent me a mail today, she is doing a master's from a reputed university in psychology. She, one of the aspirants who wrote mains this year, she also belongs to psychology background. So I saw that these people were quite adept at handling these questions because they know the current trends. I will tell you, in our programs we'll keep on inculcating this, how to approach this question now. Now first and foremost, in the introduction you will write that what is the endeavor of psychology. So you will write, psychology aims to prevent mental disorders and promote psychological well-being across various dimensions. So in the department of mental health, what are the objectives of psychology? Preventive, prevent disorders, and then intervention, that is ensure that psychological well-being is prevalent. Mental health. Now these are the parts of what? Positive psychology. Positive psychology does not believe only on the preventive aspects but proactive aspects. Now proactive aspects have been the trend of psychology in the 21st century. So this you gave psychology's endeavors. Now why mental health and how mental health has been, as I told you, it's not only about what and when, what, when, where. These things are not important in UPSC. Why and how? Because see, if you want to pass state service examination, then your approach should be what, when, where, these things, facts. But if you want to pass UPSC, why and how is important. Why and how mental health has a subject of importance in psychology. as far as discipline of psychology is concerned in 21st century. So we'll give why. The why will consist of reasons. So what are the reasons? Not going far into the history, but recent happenings. What happened recently? The major shift in the phenomena of mental health, major shift across the globe. COVID-19. Because of the COVID-19, what happened? People were suffering from anxiety, depression, loneliness. Some other people who had lost their kith and kin, they were suffering from PTSD, which is your post-traumatic stress disorder. So these things forced psychologists to look into the aspects of mental health. Mental health became our focus. The reason being this. So we are now giving the reason. This is reason number 1. And how psychologists help? By ensuring that there is therapy. There were therapies. Community awareness through the use of community psychologist. Community psychologist working with the government, healthcare workers. They ensure that positive mental health is prevalent across the society. Now, this is one reason, one trend. Second one, you must have seen as you grew up that in recent years, especially in our 21st century, the advocacy and awareness, advocacy and awareness about what? Mental health has increased a lot. Not just looking at the lack of disease, but ensuring that proactive approach towards mental disorders is there. That mental disorders don't germinate. Advocacy for such rights, even people who are intellectually challenged, as you saw in the question paper itself, there is a question regarding intellectually challenged people. That is in your paper 2. Even for them, the basic human rights are there, and the advocates of basic human rights were there to ensure that mental health is prevalent in the society, and awareness regarding the mental health has also increased. Especially, you can connect it with the recent happenings. You must have seen in the news what happened in Kota. Many aspirants go and prepare for NEET. So, parents have high hopes from them, but due to duress, stress, which they could not cope, many of them, around 20 aspirants, committed suicide this year itself. So young boys and girls in their teenage, young adolescents, they are committing suicide, 20 around. So it's a major threat, but awareness about these issues have definitely increased. Advocacy groups are there, awareness groups are there. Now, what are the other trends? Why it is happening? Why mental health has become a major focus for psychologists? One is that advancement of technology. Which kind of technologies? Like artificial intelligence, which can ensure, and psycho-cybernetics, of course. Psycho-cybernetics and AI has ensured that we can precisely zoom down to the factors which create mental disorders, because of which individual differences in mental disorders can be tracked. And since there is a precision, we can always find the cure. What other reasons are there? The multidisciplinary approach of here as far as psychologist study of mental health is concerned. Now these factors have also come to play. So understanding that these factors are important has increased our interest and awareness in mental health study, and because of that the mental health study has become the focus of our study in psychology, especially in the 21st century. Now you have given the introduction. In that introduction you have defined the role of psychology as far as mental health is concerned. You have given the trends why mental health has become the focus, reasons how and why. After that, how will you conclude? In the conclusion you will write that increasing technical intervention and multidisciplinary approach has made psychology one of the champions of the cause as far as mental health study is concerned. This way you have summed it up. If you write all these factors in the manner in which I have suggested, how much marks you can expect, provided that this is, suppose this is your copy, you have given the introduction here, then body points in a good handwriting. I have always insisted on this fact. Those who don't want to write much can give diagram or flow chart also, or they can use flow chart diagram along with the content. Then you have concluded, then you can expect 6.5 to 7 marks in this question itself if you write all these factors. Okay, so your focus should always be how to get more and more marks, apart from the fact that there is lots of content available, but the study is not being done in the right manner. As I interacted with one of my students, who is one of the best students I have ever interacted with, he was saying that after interacting with me, after meeting me in the psychology class, he realized that his approach of studying too much of content, that 6, 7, 8 booklets, thick booklets, going deep down into everything, is not solving the problem. He started studying things from the perspective of how I categorize it: concept, application, merit and demerit. From this perspective, all the chapters, all the subtopics. Now your effort is towards smart study rather than just keep on mugging the facts. Smart study. You are saving your time. You are saving your energy, which you can put in other things like essay, ethics and other papers of GS, of course. So this is how you should study, rather than just following the herd. Herd mentality is not going to solve anything. Following the herd is not going to solve anything, because other people are reading 8 booklets, going to a particular institute. That is not going to solve you. You have to be smart, and you people are definitely smart. So we'll now go to another question. This question, which we have discussed, has told you that how to approach a question. It has not only given you the content is already there. I have given the model answer, which you can see, but that itself is not enough. What is required is your approach, change of approach. So let's discuss another question. Question number 1D from your section A, paper 1, 2023 main examination. What does it say? Applied question, my dear friends. Applied question. Your relative is going through chemotherapy. Your relative, God forbid, it should not happen. Nobody's relative should go to chemotherapy. So assume that it is going through chemotherapy. how your knowledge about learning theories will be helpful. Now, what is this saying? Chemotherapy is one aspect of the question. Somebody is going through chemotherapy. Your knowledge of learning theories. Please remember, we are not talking about the whole psychology, but you are talking about the learning theories. Particularly because it's a 10 marker, it has to be focused. It has to be a focused aspect. Not giving everything you know in the psychology. Okay. So, how we'll approach this question? This is regarding chemotherapy. This can be anything. And you understand that psychology being a behavioral science has lot many dimensions, lot many applications as far as these disease, these maladaptive behavior and problems of society are concerned. So how will we approach this? Let's go through. In the answer, introduction. In the introduction, what you should do? Break it down, simplify. Chemotherapy. What is chemotherapy? Chemotherapy is a therapy used to treat cancer patients where the drug and radiation are combined to kill the cancer cells. Kill or reduce its growth. Cancer cells are killed or its growth is reduced, hampered, tampered. Okay, this is the basic definition you give. Now, in brief, you will say learning theories given by the discipline of psychology can help us in following ways. So, you have different perspectives, you have learned all the perspectives. First and foremost, to start with, as when we say learning theories, what comes to your mind? First and foremost, Pavlov's dog, Skinner's rat, that comes to your mind. Behaviorist perspectives. So, behaviorism. How does behaviorism help you? Behaviorism tells you to reinforce good behavior and punish the bad behavior. So what we'll use here to be being intelligent people of psychology, we'll use positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement will be used to reward the good behavior of the patient who is there, who is going through, your relative who is going through chemotherapy. If the person is taking drug, that is medicine, not other drugs, medicine at right time, following a healthy diet as suggested by the nutritionist, healthy diet, you will reward the person. How? By giving the person something which makes him or her happy, at least for a moment. It depends on the person. Reward. Now, what we'll do in negative reinforcement? This is positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement. We will be a bit relaxed in our approach. Whenever a person follows the strict regime of medicine and diet and maybe exercise and all, we will give more of leisure time. Person will not be forced to follow a very rigid, disciplined way of life, but will say, okay, you can have this 1 more hour of TV, 1 more hour. No need to go to sleep at 8 p.m. You go to sleep at 10 p.m. because you have followed your regime well for today. So not what we are doing, we are actually removing the negative stimuli. We are removing but But see, we are not punishing the person. Punishing, in modern psychology, punishment is not used that much as negative reinforcement is used. UPSC has asked a question also on this, punishment and negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is much better than this punishment. Don't be so harsh, don't be so strict. Relax your criteria, that is negative reinforcement. Punish the person, that is bringing some obnoxious stimuli in the environment so that the person becomes jittery. So that punishment is not advisable. Negative reinforcement is used. This way we have used behaviorist theories. There are other theories which are cognitivist theories. Second, you can use cognitivist theories. How can cognitivist be used? We can use it in training the person for a better memory, for better images, better memory, the mnemonics and organization techniques. Mnemonics, organization techniques can be used to ensure that the person has better memory. Can it be done? Yes. One is for this, because of this therapy, the chemotherapy, the person might be suffering from memory loss. That can be done. Another thing which can be done in the cognitive aspect itself is training the person for good memories. Good memories, like in the person's life, whatever good events have happened, try to recall that, especially in the morning hours, when the day starts. What do we say? We always say that when the day starts, you should go for some spiritual aspects. Go and do some spiritual activity, yoga, meditation, worship God in the morning, because if you do it, it ensures that the kind of neurons which gets activated in the morning in the wee hours, that will ensure that your whole day is positive. So training the person for memorizing, rehearsing good memories, that can be done through cognitive aspect. Now comes the role of observation learning, OL. What is OL? Observation learning of whom? Bandura? Observation learning given by whom? Bandura? How? You must remember that recently there was a famous actress from Bollywood, Sonali Bendre. She was suffering from cancer. You can give her example to your relative that she was showing what? Resilience and countered such a tough regime of chemotherapy and came out successful. That is observation learning. Few other people, if there is any other relative, God forbid that should not even happen, if there is any other relative in the family itself, then you can give his or her example that she or he also countered or went through the chemotherapy really bravely, came out very successfully. These things we can use. Now apart from that, there is another approach called constructivist approach. And what is this constructivist approach? Constructivist approach, which you won't find in the notes of so-called popular notes which are there in the ORN. Constructivist approach says In the constructivist approach, what happens? This is the person, this here is cancer, after that therapy is happening. The past beliefs, values, experiences, they can all be combined with the current situation to ensure that the person counters chemotherapy in an integrated manner. Like, suppose a young person in his adolescence wins a national award in sports or any intellectual criteria, intellectual arena. National award is one. Now this person is showing resilience, muscle memory is there of resilience. Your body remembers, your mind remembers that you are a resilient person. You have to bring back this person. You must have seen there are athletes who at some point of time they don't do well. Their performance, this is the performance, this is the time, their performance increases like this, that goes up to some level, then either plateaus or slumps. Then in this slump period, the person is told that look at your past achievements, these. Then again after some time the person gathers himself, like what happened with Sachin Tendulkar. He was always caught in his 90s. Whenever he reached up to his 90 runs, he was not able to make a century, convert it to a century. At that point of time, psychological intervention was done and the self-belief of the sports person. Likewise, the self-belief of the person can be brought back to go through such tough therapy. Constructivism. These things you have to use. This is how you will attempt this question. And in the examination it is very much possible, 100% possible. It's not that after the paper we are making the answers. No, it is possible in the examination, provided you go through the basics in such a manner that, see, the approach needs to be changed. You need not go through, whenever something like Bandura's name comes, you should remember each and everything in that mota booklet. All these things should be read and it should be recalled. No, you need to develop a bird's eye view. I have been telling every now and then, bird's eye view. If you don't develop it, it will be very difficult. And one of the aspirants, she even told me that because of this understanding of bird's eye view, she was able to handle so many questions, despite the fact that her preparation of psychology was not that well adept. You understand this? These things are very bird's eye view. It's not that you are going shallow. What happens? See what is happening. Like Pavlov's dog, Pavlov trained his dog to salivate. Now many of the aspirants who come to prepare here, they are also behaving like Pavlov's dog, salivating when too much of content is given. Too much content, salivating like anything. They are very happy. That salivation should stop. Now you should be smart aspirant. Don't waste your time here. Read things which are important. Unnecessarily salivating for this too much of content being given and being happy, okay, person has command. Everybody knows, everybody has command over psychology. But the person's smartness, genius lies in making things simple. Genius will make things simple, not making things complex. What is happening now? Psychology is being made complex deliberately. You cannot persuade a person, if you cannot convince a person, confuse him. This is what is happening right now. Everybody is confusing students, making it complex. The thing should have been made simple. So making it simple will help you. 2 questions we have done, 10 markers. You must have understood the content, the approach. Now we will go and do a bigger question, not the short ones. 3C. Question number 3C. What does 3C require you to do? First of all, see the question, understand the question. discuss some key ideas from psycho-cybernetics. Straightforward question. Everybody is saying question was very simple. Question was very simple. What is the answer, buddy? Tell me. Question was simple. Okay, but what is the answer? What have you written? That's very important. Do you know the meaning of psycho-cybernetics? Is it being dealt separately as a topic in our classes? The answer is no, unfortunately. But I can vouch for the fact that I had given this psycho-cybernetics, use of psycho-cybernetics in successful aging. This was a question in my test series. In my classes, I will be giving you each and every subtopics pointers, 4 or 5 pointers for sure. Understanding of the concept, application of the concept, merit and demerit, and that will ensure that you solve the question, each and every question in the UPSC, whosoever asks. Now, psycho-cybernetics, key ideas from psycho-cybernetics. Before we delve deep into the psycho-cybernetics, we must understand what is psycho-cybernetics. Psycho-cybernetics is the study of, what is the psycho-cybernetics? Psycho-cybernetics is the study of human thought process. Human thought process. Human thought process is studied through psycho-cybernetics because the champions of psycho-cybernetics told that the human thought process works in the same manner as the cybernetics works, cybernetics, as the computer programming does. Likewise, computer programming backs on which discipline, which fundamentals? This is your human mind, especially the subconscious. Listen that carefully. This is your mind, and especially the subconscious. And if you understand this, this can be a great learning. This can open great vistas, great windows for your successful life also. Understand this. Subconscious. Now, this subconscious mind works on one principle, that is called feedback principle. Feedback. What feedback you give it. And depending upon the working of subconscious mind, your success and failure is defined. You become successful when you train your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind can be trained to have one positive self-image. How? You give the feedback, as we say, positive self-talk. You must have seen nowadays, this is in trend, manifestation. So many people working on this principle, law of attraction. It's nothing but this positive self-image, positive self-talk. When you get up in the morning, go in front of the mirror. You tell yourself, I am the best. I can go through and successfully counter. I am resilient. Successfully counter any problem on this earth. Now, what are you doing actually? You are suggesting your subconscious mind that you are a person with positive self-concept. You are confident about your abilities. This training is done through the principles of psycho-cybernetics. Use of psycho-cybernetics in this. Now, once you have the positive self-image, your goals, life goals, will be aligned to this positive self-image, and your habits, your values and your habits will become such that you orient all your actions, everyday action, towards achieving your goals. And since you have a positive self concept, you will approach towards your goals in a healthy manner, positive manner, and that will result into achievement of success. Now, how failure comes? What is the reason of failure then? Failure comes because you are full of fear, guilt, negative self image. I am bad, I am bad. Everybody, every day, every now and then, I don't know anything. Others are reading too many books. They are going to this coaching, that coaching. I don't know anything. What will happen to me? This fear, the guilt. No, I am spending too much of money. Not achieving success. Not getting any improvement. This guilt that forces you towards the path of failure. These are all the principles of psycho-cybernetics. Now you can put up the content, you can put up the flow chart and diagrams, and also ensure that the current focus of psychology, that is, as we already discussed, psychological well-being, and another one was happiness. Definitely these two are connected to each other. Happiness can also be ensured by use of psycho-cybernetics, because once you have a positive self-image, you are giving a feedback to your self-conscious, subconscious that you are a positive person, you are going towards the achievement of your goals, you have all the capabilities in this world required to achieve your goal, you are doing your hard work because your habits will be aligned towards that. Then will you achieve success or not? Will you achieve psychological well-being or not? Yes, of course. So these things, these all are the dimensions of psycho-cybernetics. Now, if you are told what actually psycho-cybernetics is, going deep into the concepts of psycho-cybernetics rather than just giving you 10 points. Psycho-cybernetics comes 10 points, points after point, points after. Examiner is not able to understand what actually you are writing. Point, scribbled. As I see the scripts of many people who have again gone through these material available in the market, they are writing points but not able to explain. What I am suggesting, you give me 3-4 important points, explain them, give examples for each and every one of them. I as a examiner or anybody on this earth will give you more marks than just giving 8 point, 10 points. Same approach happening in ethics also. 8 points not relevant, no marks. 3 points explained well, your uniqueness also projected through these points, more marks. Understand? So this is the approach you have to change. Key ideas of psycho-cybernetics done. Example, flowchart, diagram, everything can be put up. You can give the example of successful people, how they used to self-talk. Give the example of Saurav Ganguly, give the example of Sachin Tendulkar, give the example of Ratan Tata, how they used it, the principles of psycho-cybernetics, how it is being used currently in the manifestation and law of attraction. So train your mind to think about your goals, to think positively about yourself. But you are filling your mind with, as I call that, kuda kachra. Fixations about things which you have not achieved. Fixation. Images you are carrying for a particular person. This person I met on this date. Not able to forget. X, Vex, all this nonsense. Because you are fixated about a particular event, about the particular meeting. Life is too big. So get ahead of these fixations. Train your subconscious mind to achieve things. Get free from your guilt, get free from fear, get free from negative self-image. This is what psycho-cybernetics tells you. So this was one question regarding psycho-cybernetics, not dealt anywhere. But in our test series we have discussed, and on our platform where online classes will be there, it will definitely be covered. Each and every chapter, precise notes, not giving bulky notes, so that you are lost in the notes. Nobody cares whether you pass or not. Okay. Now we will go to another question, which is, as people say, easy, but again it's difficult if you have not done your revision. It's difficult if you don't know how to connect two topics. Easy, straightforward. What is the question? The question is 4a. What is the question? Compare and contrast between what? Programmed learning and probability learning. PL versus PL. Why this question was asked? Examiner in a funny mood. Those PL, both these are PL. Program learning, probability learning. Let's ask a question. If you ask those people who are there in the vicinity of preparation, those who are coaches, I never blame the students. The coaches will say there is no connection. Program learning, different topic. Probability learning, different topic, taught by different people. It will be taught by different people. Probability learning, another person will be called. Program learning, another person will. That is not going to help the students. When I was taking classes at one of the platforms, so I told, see, when you are reading probability learning, you must read program learning along with that, so that you develop that schema. Probability learning and program learning both. And when you are reading these two, compare and contrast. What is the similarity? What are the differences? That you should always do. Although a mechanical thing, but you should do. Because you never know. The examiner may be in a funny mood and ask this also. So, first of all, we will understand what is program learning, what is probability learning. These two things. First of all, program learning. Straight away, going to the, you can say it briefly in the introduction, program learning and probability learning are two ways or two fundamental strategies of learning which help in our understanding of environment, which ensures that we have a relatively permanent change in our behavior. That is the definition of learning. So first we will go to program learning. What is program learning? Now again, I will tell you, when program learning or any topic comes, because it's none of your mistakes, but because you have read so many things in program learning in that booklet, you will try to jot down each and every point. Not required. Give the fundamentals, give the basic understanding. Program learning, which is based on the principles of your shaping a particular behavior and chaining it with another behavior. Shaping and chaining, these two things are important. Shaping a behavior, then chaining it, has a large task or a chapter which is broken down into small frames. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. After each chapter there are a set of questions. Now the person who is going through this, after doing the frame 1, will solve the questions, get the feedback. Feedback can be in form of correct, wrong. If the feedback is correct, then you go to frame 2. If the feedback is wrong, go back to frame 1. Learn the fundamentals again. This is how it is taking place, and how it is based on self-pacing. Self pacing, that is your pace you decide. Self-instructed, nobody is there to instruct you. Self-paced, self-instructed, based on reinforcement. Reinforcement who is giving? You yourself are giving. Right? Going through different frames so that the task is completed. This is the basic. Nothing much is required. But you need to, what you do, you will memorize the name of the person who gave program learning, in which year it came. These things are not relevant. Write only the relevant things, the basic principles, the basic ideas. This is how much time you have for each and every topic. And if you want to do PhD for each and every topic, then it will take 5 years for you to complete the examination. And the smart person will do this study and crack the exam in 1 or 2 years. So be smart, don't get lost in the hard mentality. So the basic things we have discussed regarding program learning. We'll go to probability learning. Now probability learning, the basic fundamental is response contingency. Response probability matches the reinforcement probability. This is the basic principle. What is happening? You take any step. In a famous experiment with team H, the rats were left here. Brunswick's rats, team H experiment. 75% of time the food pellets were kept here on the right side and 25% of times here on the left side. After a number of trials, when the rats were left in the maze, they started going out of 4 times, 3 in the 3 trials, out of the 4 trials, in the 3 trials they used to go to right side, because the probability of food being available there was 75%. So the response probability matched with the reinforcement probability. Reinforcement probability being 75% here, response probability being 75% here. After a number of trials, it happened. This is probability learning. Basic principle of probability learning. High utility in your uncertain environment. What uncertain environment? You are going on Shankar Road. There are 2 ways of approaching Old Rajendra Nagar. This is your Shankar Road, this is Pusa Road. You in your 100 driving trials, you saw that this Pusa Road is full of traffic. You take at least half an hour more, 30 minutes more to reach your destination. But if you take this route, Shankar Road, then it is easier for you. How much easier? It is giving you a 30-minute advantage. Not in one trial, after so many trials we have understood this. Then you start going here, following this route. You are using your money to invest in share market. You see that a particular share, a history of the particular share has been that it has shown profit in the more than 90% of time, or 75% of time it has shown profit margin of 50%. Now you are betting on this share. What is this? Probability learning. Weather forecasting. You saw that when I go to a particular place in Pune, say the example of Pune, in the months of September, October, then there are rains. So you are completely prepared. Probability learning. Probability learning we are using every now and then. Program learning basics covered, probability learning basics covered. The comparison between these two, the contrast is, what is the similarity? Both, definitely both are. What are the similarities? Both being learning and both are basically dependent on the reinforcement. Probability learning based on reinforcement contingency, probability of reinforcement, and program learning being based on individual immediate feedback. But reinforcement is always there at the core of the learning, both types of learning. Comparison we have already understood, quite different. These two types of learning are quite different, and their uses are also different. Program learning widely used in educational psychology, education. Probability learning every now and then, daily uses. Now we will come to the advantages and disadvantages of these two types of learning. The thing is, how to organize your answer. Whenever the question paper is on the easier side or a generic side, as the question paper 1 of 2023 has been, then how to write your answer in an organized manner, how to manage the time, that will define your marks. Fine. So we'll see the advantages of programmed learning. Advantages of programmed learning. What was the advantage? The basic advantage. First being, it caters to the individual differences and learning style of different people, because it is self-paced, self-instructed. So different learners have different learning styles. Some are convergers, some are divergers. Some people have the ability to mug up lots of material and then they will make a precise note of it. You see, what is happening? Lots of material, plethora of material. Some people have the ability to make it concise. These are convergers. There are people who with a concise note can bloat it, that is, they can make a bigger picture out of it. Current regime of UPSC examination is of these kind of people, not convergers but divergers, because you see the essay marks are important, right? Essay marks are important, ethics marks are important. Both these papers require you to be a diverger. That's why I keep on insisting on the fact that you should have the ability to go through the basics of the topics, each and every topic, concept application, merit, demerit, and then you should be able to apply yourself in the examination, rather than going through a plethora of material and then making it precise. That anybody can do, but UPSC is looking for these people who are change makers, and that is possible through the support of the right kind of coach. It's very much possible. So individual differences and learning styles are catered to through the use of program learning, that we can always tell. Then what is the other advantage? We get immediate feedback. As people say, I wrote the answer test today, give me the feedback right now only. Immediate feedback has huge advantage, because you can change your behavior immediately. You got the feedback, and once you are getting the feedback immediately, you have the probability of doing things right, more of the probability of doing things right than when you get the feedback after a time gap. But we'll see the disadvantage there. We'll realize that this is more applicable to the routine task, mundane task, not for creative and critical thinking approaches. There it is not required much. Okay. Now since you are getting immediate feedback, there the role of the teacher is also limited, because the relevant portions, the relevant points only should be marked up, should be gone through. Once you know the relevant points, then your probability of passing the examination also becomes huge. Then knowing all the 10 points, 20 points, 30 points, 50 points, where is the use? You don't even have the resources to mug up all the facts. So we have gone through the advantages. We'll see the disadvantages of program learning. We have already discussed that, but still I'll jot it down here. Disadvantages. What is the disadvantage? The biggest disadvantage is that when the task is not mundane, when the task requires thinking, then it fails. Creative task, it fails. Program learning fails. Then monotony is there in the task, monotony, boredom, and since there is no teaching element, the teacher is not there to entertain you, so it becomes further boring. That's why whenever the task is monotonous, when it is full of boredom, then the learner's motivation, learner's belief system also suffers. The motivation, cognition, that suffers, and because of that the learning outcome will be suffering. These are the disadvantages. Now we will go to the advantages of probability learning. What are the advantages? Advantages of probability learning. The biggest advantage is whenever there are uncertainties, uncertain situation, whenever the situation is full of vagaries as it is in the real life, then PL comes handy, probability learning comes handy, because you know, because of your previous experiences, the contingency of reward, probability of reward, and that's why you have already shaped your behavior. And because of this fact, another advantage will come, the point number 2, that real life applicability is very high. Is very, very high. Primary advantage. What are the disadvantages? The biggest disadvantage of probability learning is probability learning assumes that each one of us are rational thinkers and our decisions are based on these mathematical calculations, mathematical probability. But that is not true. Our decisions are based on our mood, cognition, anchoring bias. Because of these things, because of your heuristics, representative heuristics, availability heuristics, anchoring bias, you tend to take decisions which are based on your prejudices and biases, and many of the decisions we take based on stereotypes. So role of these things have completely been neglected as far as probability learning is concerned. This is the biggest disadvantage. Then the thing is that assuming that any decision, any human decision will be free from the momentary fluctuations. Momentary fluctuations. A person who is habituated of traveling only in Mercedes will be very jittery when going in the metro. So because of these momentary fluctuations in the metro, person's thought may change completely. In the Mercedes, a different kind of thought. When it is very difficult, weather is not good, person may start using cuss words which he or she does not do when the environment is relaxed, cool. So these are the disadvantages. These two concepts are not very tough, easy to understand, but its comparison and their contrast and comparison between these two then basic understanding that advantage disadvantage, simplistic, that itself is left, and people are going into the depths of the topic, so called depth. I don't call that depth. Point after point, writing 10 points does not show your depth. The depth is shown when you write 3-4 points and explain well, full of examples, full of diagrams, then you get marks. These things you have to remember. We have discussed section A of paper 1 today. We'll discuss section B of paper 1 again. Not all questions again, because I have already given you the model answer on my Telegram channel. MJ UPSC 2004. This is the Telegram channel on which you can get the solutions. Then I have already told you about 2 programs which are running on our platform. One is your online classes, where both test series and mentorship are combined with the classes. Then there is a specific program for test series come mentorship, that's also running. The batch 3 will start from October 5 and will run till January 14. For these 2 enrollments are taking place.